sadly, at the end of economic and monetary eras, all values seem to just disappear, and everybody is chasing the golden calf, and greed is the number one criterion for success. And this is what we are seeing now. The rich are getting richer, which, as we all know, is very dangerous for the world. Normal values, which are obviously family, friends, moral values, ethical values, integrity, honesty, they're all gone basically. Because I've had a long life and been very lucky because I've lived in two countries, Sweden and Switzerland, which have avoided wars, having then been born at the end of World War II, and so I've experienced really good, prosperous times with high values when everybody worked hard and there was total honesty. Churches were open; you could go in, and the church silver would be on the shelf, and nobody touched it, etc. So that was in the 50s and early 60s, maybe. And then gradually we've seen values change to mainly monetary values, and people chasing affluence and running ever faster. And then the values of family and friends and etc. They're disappearing. So that's been, but that's what you see, of course, at the end of a major era. And so therefore, evil sounds horrible, but it's not the world is not a good world now, sadly. And most people are not happy and they're not grounded, because there are other scientific reasons for that also. The Earth's magnetic field is weakening continuously, and actually makes us less grounded, which is quite interesting. But but it goes hand in hand with the era we are in. So, my view as evil is not a normal state. It is a part of a cycle, and at the end of the cycle, this is what happens. And, in my view, and we are going to see at some point in coming years an implosion of the financial system, an implosion of world economy, and times will be tough for all of us. But I think at the same time we need a forest fire. We need this system to burn down, because there's no other way of solving it. It can never be solved by debts will never be repaid. It's impossible. As we know, now we are in so-called prosperous times, and debts are exploding totally, increasing exponentially in prosperous times. So, what happens then when we get bad times? Well, they will of course increase even more, grow even faster, if that's possible, until everything implodes. Debt will be worthless, and of course that means that the assets that were financed by this debt will also be, if not worthless, worth a lot. They will be worth a lot less, and many bubble assets like stocks and bonds will go down by 95% in real terms. And I think that's necessary. We need that. The world needs that. So we can get a good fire, clean out all the dead wood, and start again. And then we get back, and then we will get back to real values, families, etc., and community, which has disappeared now. So it's an interesting cycle, and the transition will be horrible for most people, of course, for all of us. Nobody will escape it. But after the transition, as I said, we will all have to work hard for and to create real things, not to just make speculative gains on a daily basis in Bitcoin or in Tesla shares or whatever it is. After the Weimar Republic, they wrote off the debts, etc. But now there's nobody to take the burden of somebody else's debt now, because it's in the same position. So that's why it will be much greater than before, and that's why none of us can forecast exactly how it will happen. But that will it will be tumultuous, and it will be difficult. That's absolutely clear, and it will be dramatic. And you have unfunded liabilities, and then you have I worry about as much or more. You have the derivatives. The derivatives is just there. You have at least 1.5 quadrillion of derivatives. I know the BIS are reporting less, but I think the real figure is at least 1.5 quadrillion. And of course, that is a hidden debt also. The derivatives are used to finance most things, and therefore, derivatives function when there's demand, and of course for banks it's a money spinner. But when there is no demand and there are no liquidity in derivatives, when people want to sell them, they will implode, and then at that point, counterparty will fail. Of course, right now they just offset all the derivatives, and the banks come down to zero. Basically, we have no risk when we offset or the various risks. But when counterparty fails, gross liability remains gross. So therefore, we are going to see the 1.5 quadrillion. So in my view, that will be printed too by central banks in order to save the derivatives market, which they won't be able to do, of course. But they will try. So therefore, it'll be more than just a 300 trillion that will be printed in the market. Right now, roughly 0.5% of world financial assets are invested in gold and gold stocks. So that's nothing. I mean, it's historically a very low figure. We've been as high as 5%. So because, as I said, we have now an era of instant gratification. Everybody wants to buy something that goes up tomorrow. Gold then doesn't function that way. Gold reflects, as we've said before, the debasement of currencies over time, with a bit, with a bit of fluctuation within that. But so we know that over time you can't go wrong with gold, because it will continue to go up since currencies will continue to be debased. Therefore, what will happen now when inflation goes up, and that's inevitable, it will go up. It's going up now, it's going to go up further, and therefore, institutional investors will have to think about inflation protecting their assets. And with 0.5% investment now, I mean, that's nothing. And of course, they never go dramatically above a certain percentage. So they're not going to go from 0.5% to 5% to 10%. It wouldn't be possible anyway. But even if they go from 0.5 to 1 or to 1.5, there will not be enough gold in the world to satisfy that demand.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.